Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Deja Vu here, and I am bringing you a special guest commentator with me. Varosh is back. It's the first time I've done a commentary with him in at least a few weeks. I think the last time we did a duel, it was also a TVT. It was that insane Lita, I think, versus someone else on Fighting Spirit, and it ended up just being tons of paper planes everywhere, dying to Goliaths and Valkyries and all kinds of crazy things. So hopefully this TVT will match up favorably to that. We've got the best Terran in the world by far. We have Flash, the best player in the world, undeniably at this point, and he's going against Really, who is Estro's new ace player and their top Terran as well. And there's been a lot of questions of who will be the one to take down Flash in anywhere, but in particular his TVT. He's on a 21-game winning streak at this point, and that's getting awfully close to I Love Oo's 27-game TVZ win streak. So this is definitely very, very significant for him. Every time he comes out for a TVT, I think it's something to watch and something to note for, to see if he can get close to that record. And yeah, I am absolutely ecstatic to see this game, and I think that we should have some high-quality StarCraft. And Varosh, just why don't you give us your thoughts on the matchup, how you feel about Flash? I know you haven't been around here, haven't done a commentary in a little while, but hopefully you've been watching Flash as he's gone on this ridiculous streak recently.
Yeah, I have been watching Flash. Although I'm not really a Flash fanboy, I'm actually rooting for Really in this game. I really... Oh, God. Again with the really puns, but I'm going to try to avoid them. When Really first came out, he's C Really, and everyone resented him just because they confused him with C. But every time a new Estro player is coming out, I always kind of pull for them, just for how much Estro does for the foreign StarCraft community. They're the people who originally brought Idra, Noni, and Rhett over, and I feel like they really try to do more for the foreign StarCraft community than anyone else. So anytime Estro has a somewhat good player, I always root for them. And Flash, despite his dominance, you still don't want to see him dominate forever. You want a certain balance in the game. You want to see, you know, new players winning star leagues. It's more exciting to see a Royal Roader than to see someone who's already been there go back there. And a lot. And I mean, there's like Savior fanboys who always want a dominant player for the day, someone that they can just back. But I think StarCraft works better when anyone can win any game, and if anyone can take down Flash, Really's a very unpredictable player, and I think he can do it at any time.
Yeah, I like what you said there, you know, making StarCraft kind of unpredictable, and including some parity into StarCraft. And we'll just get the star positions here, because they are both Terran. We've got Flash in the bottom left in blue, and Really at the top right in red. This is match point, by the way. And I also like to note what you said about the Royal Road possibility, how exciting it is to see a Royal Roader. And you kind of get to see that in the OSL this year. You've got Flash, the big bourgeois, who's just absolutely wrecking everybody left and right, and he is a massive favorite in the OSL finals. But he's going against Movie, who is going for that Royal Road, who I'm sure has a lot of people rooting for him because of that Royal Road, because he's a Protoss player, because he's a new guy overall. I'm sure he's going to have a lot of people rooting for him. And just looking at some of the Estro players, actually, I think that might have been Flying there on the right. I remember he wears glasses and has kind of a longer face, so that might have been Flying there on the right. And I'm interested to see what kind of builds these two players go for. Really, definitely, you nailed it on the spot. He goes with a lot of different builds in TVT. He's not really a predictable player. But at the same time, that's the kind of play that doesn't bother Flash. Flash just always seems to come in with a game plan. He just wants to do his thing. And if you don't stop him, if you don't mess with his build order, if you don't force him to react to something crazy or creative, then he just rolls you over, because he usually has some perfect timing in mind that he's going to push out. As we get a little robotic twitch there from Flash, as he's just thinking so much right now.
I actually missed the players. I'm so lucky. I've seen so many Flash games that I actually can recognize his name in Korean. So he is the blue player. I'm so glad I caught that. So Flash is going for a traditional wall-in, and Movie's building a little bit of a forward barracks. He's probably going to pump a few Marines from there and then lift it to go do some scouting. not anything real typical. He didn't rather than walling in, he went for just slightly increase his productivity. The SCVs are going to pop out to the right of the command center, and I guess he feels that he wants that little bonus instead of the wall in. That probably indicates that he's going to go for a more conservative build, one that he really won't have to worry about early pressure to him. If he was going to go for a ridiculously fast expansion, for example, he would feel that he needed to wall in to prepare for that. So he's probably going to go for a few Marines, maybe a siege expand. And Flash's SCV is getting in now. I don't know if Reely's has been turned away. Reely's just sending one out now, so he's going to have a little bit of extra mining time, but he's probably not going to get in, and Flash is going to have a scouting advantage in addition to being, pretty much undebatably the better player in this game, so Reely's already a little uphill.
Yeah, and you give Flash that scouting advantage. He knows exactly how to react to anything. If you're watching Flash versus Best in the MSL, Best came in on the same map with just like a great game plan, sent out like his 5th or 6th probe to steal gas. He just had like a great game plan of how to throw Flash off of his timings, and Flash still responded essentially perfectly. It seems like no matter what a player does to try and throw Flash off, that he always reacts in the proper manner, is able to fight it off. And it looks like Flash is actually going to sneak his SUV back in. No, it's not going to sneak back in, because he would have seen the factory going up. And I thought I saw a second SCV going down there. Might have been producing a second factory. Didn't actually get to see that for sure. Did you get to see if that was another factory?
No, I didn't. My syncing's off, so I'm trying to fix that.
Oh, okay. Well, just to let you know, I am at the 6-minute 38-second mark right now, and yeah, just got really doing a nice little play there, using a supply depot build trick to get his SCV over, and he is actually going to get the scout on, and that's one of the unique things that I think really planned this out. He knew what was going on, and actually throwing up a command center that wasn't a factor or anything. That SCV was just coming down to the natural, and really knew that he was going to get a late scout in, but was prepared for that and just did that little supply depot trick, got the full scout in, sees that they're both going for essentially mirror builds, but really he's a little bit better because his command center isn't going to have to be lifted or anything. It's going to go straight up at the natural expansion, so neither player is really going to be able to put on much pressure, and that plays into Reely's hands, just that extra 10-15 seconds of mining time, and those little things definitely add up and become important on the pro scene.
Flash actually took, or I'm sorry, Reely actually took a very subtle, hard to notice advantage. He started construction on his command center before he upgraded siege mode. So Flash went for, the standard siege expand, but Reely actually he got his machine shop up and then immediately built the command center. So he got that up early, and you can see it's completed and mining before Flash is even done. And it looks like, for a second I thought he was going to take that barracks and try to land it where the CC was about to go, but he's not going to be able to accomplish that, or at least he gives up on that, although he probably could have gotten it there because he can land it like in the mineral patches and still block the landing site. He didn't necessarily have to be ahead of that command center, but really already off to a very good start. And instead of trying to challenge Flash's build, he just sat back and let Flash do what Flash does, and he's challenging him to an economic game, which I think very few players would be willing to do with Flash in such a dominant, just playing so dominantly as he has been. But really he's already picked up a couple of subtle advantages, and if he can keep cutting corners and getting away with it, because I think it's pretty obvious that he's going to get away with that delay in siege tech. If he can keep cutting corners and getting away with it, that's what you need to do to win games of StarCraft, especially in mirror matchups.
Yeah, absolutely, and really actually coming out with a bunch of ultras. Still slow right now. I think they probably have mines, and speed is probably upgrading right now, and he might actually be able to get there. Yeah, he's got mines right now. I was thinking that he might actually be able to sneak in there, maybe throw down some mines around those tanks, but those tanks don't actually end up sieging up. And an armory was put down by Flash, so that way he can get these Goliaths out, and they actually are going to be able to pick off those barracks. Unfortunately for Flash, it looks like Reely already has 3 factories up. If he wants a 4th factory, he can put that up right now, and he should be okay in terms of his factory count. He won't fall too far behind. He'll have to rebuild that barracks, of course, before he can throw up anymore, but it doesn't end up being too critical of a factor. And we've seen this before from Flash. many times where he gets that early armory, and it's not even always for +1 upgrades. It's usually just for those Goliaths. His first push out usually involves a couple of Goliaths that will stop any sort of Wraith play or dropship play or anything like that. It's kind of interesting that he actually went for it this time, just because he's got a full scout out and knew that Wraiths weren't coming his way. But he decided to go for it anyways, just because he loves those Goliaths and loves being able to micro his Goliaths against Vultures, and he thinks that he can get a little bit more advantage on the military side with the Goliaths over the Vultures rather than depending upon the mines. Bringing up a couple SCVs here to repair that Goliath, which is also very smart, but really coming in with a bunch of Vultures might actually be able to choosing not to run by, just throwing down mines everywhere, and forcing Flash to micro and really stress his micro to take down all these mines. And now it looks like really he's trying to engage here a little bit. I don't know if he really wants to do that. He got the 2 SCVs, which was nice for him, but not really doing anything else. So we got a dropship out as well, probably going to pick up some Goliaths and go for a drop. So as we move on to this next phase of the game, as we start going towards the early parts of the mid-game, it looks like Flash is going to go for a drop and really actually sneaking by with this Vultures group, and he's going to be able to get a lot of kills here unless Flash has some excellent micro, which he's trying to do as well as he can at this moment.